Sister Sister 2.0 audience. You're here today on It's All Legal. I am your host, Janine Hubble-Cox. And today we have the talented celebrity attorney, criminal defense attorney as well. I mean, she has so many talents, entrepreneur, I can just go on and on. But we have Ms. Dawn M. Florio here today with us. Dawn, welcome to Sister 2.0.
Thank you, Janine. It's such an honor to be on Sister 2.0. I'm very excited, and I love all the work that that Jamie Foster Brown has done. She's like an idol of mine. So I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So Dawn, give us a little bit of background as far as your legal education. I know you were a DA in the Bronx DA's office starting out. Tell us how you made a progression from being an assistant DA to having your own criminal defense practice.
Sure. So I went to college in Boston University, and I went to St. John's Law School. And when I was in St. John's Law School, I was actually president of the Entertainment and Sports Law Society. And that was sort of where my interest was when I was in law school. And then, to get a job in that area is very difficult because it's like really who you know. So then what I did was I interned at the DA's office. I interned for a judge, Legal Aid Society. And my aunt, who's like my role model, Anita R. Florio, she's retired justice from the appellate division. So I started really getting interested in the law. So then I got my first job as an assistant district attorney in the Bronx. I worked there for 12 years, prosecuting the most high profile cases. I did like about 30 murder cases that I prosecuted. I loved the job. And then after that, I moved into my own law firm, and I have been an attorney about 30 somewhat years without revealing my age. And
absolutely.
I have my
own. We couldn't tell that anyway, but go ahead.
So I have my own law firm. It's called the Dawn M. Florio Law Firm. And basically, I love being a business owner, and I love, being able to pick whatever clients I choose to work with. And it's not really all about the money. It's just having that energy with certain clients and really fighting for the cause.
Absolutely. And myself as an attorney, you're absolutely right. It's not about the money. It's about the principle of the matter. It's about helping your clients, providing them the best service that you can provide. So I totally understand that. So Dawn, your firm is based in New York City, is that correct?
Yeah, so my office is at 488 Madison Avenue between 51st and 52nd. So I actually started my law firm in Washington Heights and in the Bronx, and I steadily moved up to Midtown Manhattan. And I love my office. Unfortunately, I can't be there. I haven't been there for the last 2 months because of COVID-19, because we're all in quarantine. But
right.
Beautiful office that overlooks really St. Patrick's Cathedral. I have a terrace that I go out and I can just, think about, all my cases and just look at St. Patrick's Cathedral. So it's a really nice office. And I worked very hard, all my life to get to Madison Avenue.
Absolutely. So can you tell our viewers what the transition was for you going from being an assistant DA prosecuting criminals over to the defense side where you're representing them at this point?
A lot of people say well, you used to put people in jail. Now you take people out. How do you deal with that sort of conflict? So I absolutely,
right.
Transition for me was very, very smooth because as a prosecutor, you do justice. So if I saw a case where even though the person was guilty, right, but the police officers didn't do the right thing, it was an illegal search or seizure, or a witness that lied, I had the power to dismiss cases. So that was wonderful. So you have ability really to do justice. So then when I moved from a prosecutor to criminal defense, I didn't have any moral conflict at all because only God can judge. And my mission is to uphold the Constitution and to represent vigorously my clients. So I had absolutely no problem. I have no problem defending anyone except certain charges I choose not to take. But, the government has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt each and every element of the crimes that are charged, as well as the identity beyond a reasonable doubt. And I hold the government to their job. So if they can do it, they do it. And if they can't, they can't. But I don't judge people. I just try to help my clients get them the best possible deal. Or if they want to go to trial, we go to trial.
Absolutely. So our job is to vigorously represent our clients.
Right.
I mean, that's the bottom line. We provide the best defense case. Our job is to help our clients win their cases. I mean, that's what we're paid to do. In instances where we do pro bono work, which means that at times we just will take on a case just because we believe that this person may be innocent, this person deserves representation, even if they cannot afford it. And I think providing those types of services to our community is so very important.
Absolutely.
So I know that you have represented some high-profile celebrities in the past, such as Takashi 6ix9ine, Fat Joe. How did you become, or how did you start representing celebrities?
So actually, I've known Fat Joe maybe for like 20 years, and he's really like a brother to me. So he sort of exposed, you know, the business, the celebrity side of the business to me, and just basically through word of mouth and my hard work, that's how I got to represent like a lot of celebrities. So it's basically, a celebrity is just like every other individual. They deserve as much care and consideration as anybody else. But, you know, it's all about, you know, the vigorous representation, whether you're a regular person or whether you have some celebrity status.
And I know there may be a public perception out there just because of other celebrities that have been in the media who have been facing criminal charges. Sometimes there's a perception that celebrities have a more favorable position within the court system. Being a criminal defense attorney, can you speak to that issue?
I absolutely disagree. For example, one of my clients was Remy Ma, and she was accused of punching a lady at a club, at a concert. And just because who she was, I feel that she was judged much more harshly because of her celebrity status. First of all, you couldn't even get into the courtroom because there were so many reporters there. And I think celebrities have a harder time really just getting a fair shake. So thank God it took, you know, a long time, but finally with all the charges, we didn't even have to go to trial. I was able to get the case dismissed to convince the prosecutor that, you know, through the certain evidence and the lack of evidence, that she had nothing to do with this assault, and she was cleared. But I think celebrities, you know, really are scrutinized so carefully that because they're in the public eye.
So do you think the media plays a big part in that?
100%. Because every move that the celebrity makes is really censored, and you know, like a celebrity can't do anything without the press being on top of them. So because the press is so on top of them, the prosecutors and the judges, they really are very careful about what they do and really don't want to give like favorable plea offers, or they're just more strict, I think, in terms of their investigation. So I think it's much, much harder for a celebrity.
Sure. I mean, I would tend to agree with you on that point. I want to now talk about how has COVID-19 impacted the criminal justice system there in New York? What have you seen? What changes have you seen?
So the criminal justice system is so backed up as it is. Now,
absolutely.
Imagine now that courts are closed, people that are in jail like can't have access to their attorneys like they used to. So everything is so backed up that I don't know how we're going to get out of this, right? And I've seen a lot of more domestic violence cases because people are in close quarantine. So I've been so many calls about, you know, divorce or about domestic violence by both parties. You know? So yeah, it really has a detrimental effect, you know, and all of my clients are stuck in jail. So they've been releasing a lot of people that are nonviolent. But what about people that are charged with, say, a serious crime? releasing them. And it's really cruel and unusual punishment because you're innocent until proven guilty. They haven't even they haven't pled guilty, they haven't gone to trial. So it's really cruel and unusual punishment that people are in there susceptible to catch COVID-19. So they didn't sign up for this. And it's like,
Right.
So it's
Are you finding it that the judges are basically granting these motions to have these prisoners released due to the conditions in the prison system, or to reported cases of COVID within the prison system?
So my experience is that unless you're a nonviolent offender, you're not getting out of jail, even if you have medical conditions that make you more susceptible to COVID-19. So if you're charged with a violent crime, if you're charged with anything to do with, a federal case where, racketeering or something like that, you're not getting released, and you're really stuck in jail, not only being, open to catch the virus and possibly die, but then your case is delayed so much because we don't know when the courts are going to open. We don't know when juries are going to convene again so that we can try these cases. So
Right.
it's really scary for people that are incarcerated right now because they don't know if they're going to live or die.
Sure, and I'm in Texas, and we're having the same issues. I know there have been COVID cases reported within certain jurisdictions within Texas, and there was an order that was issued by the governor that absolutely no violent offenders were going to be permitted to be released. So, I mean, I know that's going to be another legal issue down the pipeline as to whether or not any constitutional rights, like you said, were violated by having those prisoners remain in prison, basically.
Because right now there's no speedy trial. So if someone is arrested right now, they usually have a right to go before the grand jury. They can testify before the grand jury. Now, all grand juries are suspended. And if you are of low economic means and you can't make the bail, or there is no bail, okay, say because it's a very serious charge, you are stuck in jail without any ramifications. And it is so scary in this environment right now to be put in a jail cell. There's no social distancing. People are testing positive all over the place.
Right.
I don't know if you're coming home.
So do you find that you're seeing an increase? I mean, you already said with domestic violence cases going up due to COVID, correspondingly, there are going to be arrests that are going to be made in connection with those cases. So do you see the prison systems having an influx of prisoners, even though we have prisoners already incarcerated that may already have been exposed to COVID, or maybe asymptomatic to COVID?
I think, because everyone is quarantined, so far crime has gone down. So
right.
Not being made, except the federal government, they're still in full force making arrests on gangs, RICO cases. So that has not stopped whatsoever. However, I do see an increase of people getting like desk appearance tickets because of not social distancing. That's like prevalent all over the media now. Like people are in a state that
Right.
can't make a living. They have to feed their families. And people just want to go outside. They just want to let the fresh air. And a lot of officers are being very aggressive and not being sensitive to the people in the community, and are just making arrests. Like you see that every day now. So I just think there's going to be a rise in arrests, maybe not putting people in jail, but having to deal with the social distancing issues.
Absolutely. So I want to touch on, you had mentioned that you have been filing motions to have your clients released as a result of COVID. And I know one of your clients, Takashi 69, he was one of those clients that you were able, because you are just that awesome of an attorney, to have him released because of the conditions in the prison system due to COVID. And I recently read in the media where he has been permitted to basically produce a rap video. And I know some of our audience may be wondering, well, how is it that he was released from prison, due to COVID, and he's being allowed to basically profit and make a rap video? And you and I, as attorneys, we know how this can be done, but can you just briefly touch upon that for our audience who may not be aware of that?
Right. So Danny Hernandez, commonly known as Takashi 69, he was supposed to be released from prison on July 31st, right, to go to home confinement. But because of his medical condition that made him more susceptible to get COVID-19, he had asthma, a lot of bronchial problems. So the
Right.
released him earlier to home confinement. But when you're on home confinement, so you have to be at your house, you have to wear an ankle bracelet. However, the judge had permitted him to be, he can make music in his house, he can do whatever as long as you're in your house. So he was granted permission by the judge to be in his backyard for 2 hours per week so that he could make a music video. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're on home arrest, you can make money. So it's not like he's out, running around the streets. He's still, in the confines of his own home, not exposed to other people in the jail.
Right.
And that was rampant with, people testing positive for COVID-19. So he's absolutely allowed to make a living. He can't leave his house at all, but he can make his music in his home. And the judge was very kind to grant him an opportunity to make a music video. So that's that situation.
Well, thank you for clarifying that for some of our viewers, because like I said, unless you are in the legal field, you may not be aware that, certain things are allowed to still go on, such as make a living, even while you're under house arrest. So the next thing that I want to talk about is your involvement in your community. I know that you are heavily involved in giving back. So do you want to tell our viewers what types of activities that you are involved in the New York area as far as giving back to your community?
So I met my best friend in the world, Chrissy Monroe, through an organization, a non-for-profit that she founded, and it's called Survive to Thrive Global. And the non-for-profit organization is a mechanism where survivors of domestic violence can get help, like we raise money. It's also a place where we can raise awareness about domestic violence, both for males and females. So Chrissy was a survivor of domestic violence, and because she was on Love and Hip Hop, she has a very healthy following on Instagram. She has a big social platform, so she uses her platform to educate women and men about, you have options and what to look for in certain situations, so you can get yourself out of certain situations. So I'm on the board of Survive to Thrive Global. So that's one thing that I do. The other thing that I do is I really give back to the community for young people. So a lot of people that are involved in gangs, they don't have, the structure or so I try to serve as like a role model for
Right.
young kids, to get them out of the gangs and to educate them that, social media is not your friend. Like, you cannot be posting, gang affiliations or splashing money or, certain things on social media that are not appropriate, because, the federal government is watching. So I try to educate people and who they hang around with. Like, you could hang around with a group of people and not do anything wrong, but you could get caught up. So you have to be very careful about how you move. You have to be very careful who you associate yourself with, because it's very easy to get caught up in a conspiracy case. It's very easy to get caught up in other people's problems. Like, and I tell people all the time, young people, stay off the phones, because you may not be the subject of a wiretap. However, if you're speaking to someone who is a subject, then your phone is being compromised as well. So then people need to stay off the phone. People need to know that there's videos all over the place. If you're going to do anything, to not do it outside, because you're going to be captured on video, and it makes my job so much harder. So I just try to educate people to do the right thing, not to get in trouble, to be a positive role model for young people, young women and young men. And I give back a lot to the community. And, I always try to encourage people to stay away from, the fast and easy lifestyle, and to get their own careers.
And I'm so glad that you brought up the point about being cautious about what you post on social media, what you say on social media, because once it's out there, it's not going away.
Right.
You may think that you may be able to delete things off of your phone, but people don't recognize that it gets stored someplace and it's able to get pulled at some point. And it could be used against you. So I'm so glad that you brought that to the attention. I fuss at my kids all the time. Be cognizant of what you post on social media because it's going to be there forever.
That's 100% correct. So the other business that I'm also involved in is marketamericashop.com. It's basically shopping online to get a residual income. And especially now that, you know, the stores are closed, this is such a great way to make money. And, you know, you have to leverage, you know, your time, because even though I love my job, right now my business is closed, you know, and
Right.
not a lot of cases. So it's very important for people to become entrepreneurs, to have multiple streams of income. So
Absolutely.
that's what I love. I get my check every week from my company. I get to buy beautiful things. I get to buy our exclusive products. So that is something that I encourage everyone to do, is to get an income where you can make money while you sleep. The other thing that I'm involved in is I just started an entertainment management company, like managing like
Right.
just to do something different, because, you know, I love what I do. I just want to impact, you know, the masses. I want to impact more people. So that's something that I'm very passionate about as well.
And that's so important, especially, I mean, as we're seeing today with the unemployment rates being sky high, people being furloughed, people losing their jobs, where some people are still waiting for stimulus checks to come in. It's so important to be able to market yourself in every direction that you can. I believe that God gives everybody multiple talents. And now is, I mean, what better time than now to be able to tap into those talents so that, God forbid, if something like this should ever happen again, which I don't ever want to happen again, but maybe we won't be in the position that we are now. So I want to thank you for sharing that, you know, your story with us. And now I see why that you have been labeled the pretty pit bull, because you fight vigorously for your clients. You're out there giving back to your community. You're an entrepreneur. You're just moving in so many different directions. And I admire you. When I was coming up, after I got out of law school and trying to figure out what field I wanted to go into in law, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anybody that I could sit there and talk to try to figure out the ins and outs. And I applaud you, because I try to do the same, you know, just educating young people, young attorneys, and you're doing the same thing. So I applaud you on your efforts, Dawn. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. You know, Sister 2.0 is such an amazing organization. And I'm just so honored that, you know, and grateful that you gave me this opportunity to share my story with you.
No, absolutely. We're all about it, you know, trying to empower our audience. And by having guests like you on our platform, I feel like we are accomplishing our goals. Is there anything else, that one last thing that you want to leave us with? Any bit of legal information, or just, you know, personal knowledge that you just want to share with our viewers?
So I just would tell everyone, you have to believe in yourself. And as Janine, as you said, God has given us so many different talents that we're not even aware of. And I think that this time, that not being able to be so busy outside and has given me the time to really think about, you know, like what my goals are, like what the future is going to bring. Is there going to be a future? What's going to happen in the world? Like, I really encourage everyone to find out, you know, what is their why, and to write down their goals every day, and just to go believe in yourself, you know, believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you can impact your life, you can change your life, and you can change the world, you know, one person at a time. So that would be my advice. Just believe in yourself and just go for your dreams and never, ever give up.
And I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much, Dawn, for being here with us today. I wish you much continued success, and please stay safe.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, Dawn.